Hey everyone, my name is Sean, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you a deck profile for a deck which I think will be really good to play for the Synchro Festival, and I think this deck is going to be relatively future proof for future festivals, as I don't think it's going to get hit by anything that Konami throws out on a future ban list, and that is Phantasm Demise. This is a deck which is a very good stun deck, so let's get into the profile. And we're going to start off with the starters. Phantasm Demise. Before I even talk about the starters, let me tell you what the theme of the deck is. It all revolves around this field spell Pacifist, the Phantasm City. This card's name is always treated as Umi. Now, this card has a lot of restrictions. You cannot normal or special summon effect monsters the turn you activate either of this card's effect, even if this card leaves the field. And so we have to work around the restrictions of this card in order to make it work. So we're not going to be normal summoning or special summoning effect monsters. With that going out of the way, let's talk about the starters. First of all, we have Terraforming to search out our Pacifist, and then we have free Card on the Mind, an amazing card that can allow you to draw up to until you have 3 cards in your hand. The downside of this card is that 1, you cannot special summon, 2, you cannot do damage to your opponent, and 3, you must discard your whole entire hand to the graveyard, which is why we play very few monsters in this deck and mostly focus on spell and trap cards. We then have Fossil Dig, and this is going to allow us to search out the one monster we do play, Megalo Smasher X, a dinosaur water monster that works very well with this deck. We have also 3 copies of Pot of Duality, a card that complements Card on the Mind very well by allowing you to choose the top 3 cards of your deck and add one of them to your hand. However, you cannot special summon the turn you activate this card. Also, because we're revolving around a normal monster, we also have Unexpected Die. If you control known monsters, special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from the deck. There's a lot of ways to get access to your Megalo Smasher X, so you should be able to get to it very early, as having this monster is very important for your deck to be able to run and get started. So moving on from the starters, we're now going to go and talk about the extenders for the deck. Deck that allow cards that give you more resources but require a little bit of setup to get there in the first place. The first one is going to be Pacifist the Phantasm City. This card says once per turn, if you normal or special summon exactly 1 normal monster and no other cards, you can add 1 Phantasm Spiral card from your deck to your hand. That is going to allow you to add either Spiral Power or Spiral Battle, a card that's been limited to 1 for this event, but as long as they don't hurt these cards too much, this deck is still really playable. Secondly, if your opponent activates a card or effect and you control no tokens, you can special summon 1 Phantasm Spiral token, a worm type water monster that's level 8 with attack of 2000 and defense of 2000. This is what's going to help you make up for the fact that you don't really have many monsters. It's going to help you push for damage when you need to attack your opponent, and it also works really well with some other cards as well. Now, other extenders that are really good here are also Sea Stealth Attack. Sea Stealth Attack allows you to, it's more of a protection effect. There really aren't too many other extenders then, so let's go on into the next section and let's talk about removal cards. Now, this deck doesn't really have much in the way of removal, it's more about stunning your opponent, but we do have Raigeki, which is just a really good card to use to blow up your opponent's field, or if not, force out an interaction. Then we have Harpy Feather Duster to do a similar thing, and then we have cards in the form of Phantasm Spiral Battle and also Spiral Power. Spiral Battle is really cool because if all your monsters are normal monsters, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And if Umi's on the field, you can activate this card from your hand. The rest of the effect we're not worrying about, that is more used in a normal Phantasm Spiral effect Spiral deck, but we're not playing that, so we're playing a Demise version. So don't worry about the bottom part. But then we also have Spiral Power, which says if all monsters you control are normal monsters, target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, and it makes it lose 1000 attack and defense, and its effects are negated. This is an in-archetype version of Infinite Impermanence that is also searchable. And if Umi is on the field, you can activate this card from your hand. So it's a really good tool, and you use it to kind of weaken your opponent's monsters and break up their plays for you. We play a lot of protection cards, things that are going to interrupt, protect your board, and negate. And we're going to start off with, let's start off with the key card, Sea Stealth Attack, which is another card that really pulls this deck together. When this card is activated, you can activate 1 Umi from your hand or graveyard, allowing you to recycle your cards. That's why I was going to say it's an extender, but it's not really there for that purpose, but it's still pretty good. And then while Umi is on the field, this face-up card gains these effects. Once per turn, you can banish one water monster you control until the end phase, and this turn, face-up spell and trap cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. This is really good. It protects your board, makes sure that your board can't get wiped out too easily. And then secondly, at the start of the damage step, if your water monster, whose original level is 5 or higher, battles an opponent's monster, destroy that opponent's monster. This part is not a once per turn, and is very, very annoying. Now, you may have realized that Megalo Smasher X is only level 4. Well, the key here is that the token you get from SeanVS, the Phantasm City, is level 8. So anytime they attack that token, that monster is gonna be destroyed at the start of the damage step, which is really, really awesome. We're gonna move on to some other cards, and let's start off with Dimensional. Oh, I didn't mean to break that. Oh, you guys are seeing all the profiles I've got now already. Whatever, it's there and done. So we got Dimensional Fissure, which is really good and makes it so that any card monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. This card hurts a lot of decks in the current format, and if you can ever play it in a deck and it doesn't hurt you, it will do wonders for you. And similarly, so does Macro Cosmos. Makes it so that while this card is face up in the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Against certain strategies, this is just an auto win, because a lot of decks cannot play if their cards are getting banished instead of being sent to the graveyard. Then, because we're playing normal monsters, we are also playing Skill Drain, and Skill Drain is very, very good in this deck. It negates all the effects of the monsters in the field, and it doesn't hurt you whatsoever. Last but not least, because the Megalo Smasher X is a dinosaur, and your Phantasm City token is a worm, we can very easily play There Can Be Only One, which makes it so that each player can only control one monster of each type. If a player controls 2 or monsters of the same type, they must send one to the graveyard so they control no more than one. Hurts a lot of decks, does nothing to you whatsoever unless you wanted to have multiple copies of Smasher X and the token on the field, which you don't really need to go that far. Last but not least, we have some protection effects in the form of counter traps. Solemn Judgment being the ultimate counter to negating pretty much anything in the game. You use this to kind of protect your board from big blowout effects like Lightning Storm or Harpy Feather Duster, or that really big key boss monster that they want to summon out of their Synchro deck. But then also, we have 3 copies of Fists of the Unrivaled Tenny. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, while you control and face up non-effect monster, you can negate the activation. But what's great about this counter trap is that if this set card is destroyed by your opponent's card effects, you can special summon one non-effect monster from the extra deck. And that is a way for you to go and summon some Synchro monsters. Now, there aren't many Synchro monsters which are non-effect monsters, but here's a couple. You've got Naturian Leo Drake, you've got Scrap Archfiend, and you've also got Gaia Knight, the Force of the Earth. These are all low rarity cards, so they're easy to craft, and they can be really fun to put out, and plus they don't clash with your deck. They can play under There Can Be Only One, because they're all different types. They can also play, they don't have effects, so they don't get hurt by Skill Drain. They work really, really nicely with a deck like this. Last but not least, I think that covers it all really. So that is Phantasm Spiral, a deck which I think is very, very reliable and very, very easy to play in this format. Give it a go if you can afford it. It's really, really reliable, and I think it's going to be a very, very fun deck to choose for the Synchro Festival. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon. Take care.